What's good, everybody? It's Maestro Styles, Trey Frazier.
Yes,
Welcome to
sir.
another episode of the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast, video style. Make sure y'all check us out on our Facebook page, also on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2, also on the Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. You can follow us on our YouTube channel as well. It's another week 16 in the books in the NFL.
Yep.
Well, first of all, hopefully everybody had a great Merry Christmas, Happy
Yeah.
Holidays, and mine was great. Even during this pandemic, it was great to be on Zoom with everybody, all the family, and all that stuff. Maestro, I'm sure it was the same for you, brother.
Yeah. Paying. Gifts. Kids is happy. Little food. Little alcohol. Good naps.
Yes, sir.
You know.
Yes, sir. And
Yeah. One thing I'm learning about. One thing I'm learning about life in the pandemic. We've gone through it. For essentially a whole year. And life goes on, man. Like obviously we got to make adjustments and things change, and there's certain precautions that you got to take and all those types of things. But man, we blessed, man. We blessed through all this bullshit that's going on. Like Thanksgiving was different, but it was but it was there's still some familiar things, and I think the key things that hit home for us as a people, those things still exist. Family, fellowship. Obviously not face to face, and it's more this situation. But you still getting the things that you hold dear.
of course, of course. I mean, things could be so much worse, man. Like we could be out on the street with, no clothes on our back, man. It's just crazy. I was just in the city Saturday afternoon giving out coats and scarves and gloves to the homeless.
Mm-hmm.
And just to see the conditions that they're living in, I mean, forget the pandemic for a second, because I know that kind of adds another dynamic to what homeless people are going through. But
Mm-hmm.
in addition to the living conditions, think about how they had to spend their Christmas. Like I took a picture of somebody designed a Christmas tree on top of one of those construction cones that you see in the
Mm-hmm.
street.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, man, like that tells so many stories. Like you could tell these people are so artistic, but at the same time, it's a reality of what they're living through, without not having, not knowing where the next meal is coming from.
Right.
Living under these cold conditions, 30-degree weather, things like that. And so it just, hit home for me that it's like, man, like even through all of what we've gone through this year, I am still blessed. Like we
Yeah.
can still do certain things just differently. Christmas was different, but yet we were still able to fellowship.
Yeah.
Like you said, Thanksgiving was different, but we were still able to, talk to each other and, see how everybody else is doing. So I'm thankful
Right.
for that. So
Yeah. For
what I'm
sure.
also thankful for is those Indianapolis Colts on Sunday, man. And those New York Jets, even though I bash them a lot, but to those two teams, man, shout out to them, because the Ravens are right where we need to be at, to get into these playoffs and, make a run at the Super Bowl, man. I know you want to talk about Ben, after giving Ben's obituary last week.
Oh, I'm still there.
No, I know, but it's
Mhm.
like after doing all that, the guy has this amazing second half on Sunday. And the Steelers, they wrap up the North, as obviously everybody knows. And now I heard Ben's not going to play this week, right?
Yeah, so the Mason Rudolph, Miles Garrett narrative
Yeah.
will get a little steam this week. Mike Tomlin announced it today that Mason Rudolph is going to start. Getting to the Colts Steelers game over the past week. Look, I'll say this. I will admittingly walk it back a tad. Ben Roethlisberger came out and alluded to the fact that the major change between first half and second half is that Ben Roethlisberger started calling plays on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And he did stretch the ball. He stretched the ball a little better this second half. Obviously with not the same, the way he would do it back in the day. Plays were stretched. When the defense had something to think about, they didn't look as good. And that if it's Randy Fiedner to blame, then he got to go too. But I know what I was looking at, and he didn't, and him throwing the ball didn't look sharp. So if he needed to call plays to make him feel a little comfortable, a little bit more motivated to throw the ball a little better, then cool. If you're telling me this is what we're going to get in the playoffs, then I like our chances. Going forward.
But that's the thing. Is this what Steeler fans expect? Or, well, yes, I think it's what they expect. I guess the question is it fixed? I mean, like, are they back, or is it okay? They just had a great second half.
Only time will tell. I mean, I'll say this. I will put some stock in it because the Colts are a good defense. It's not like the Colts are a bad defense. The Colts are a good defense. The Colts are a good offense for that matter. We got it right against the Colts.
Yeah, historically,
they're a playoff team. So I won't say fixed. I'll say we figured it out against Indianapolis. So I will take, and as the playoffs start, I will take the Tomlin approach and say we did it against the Colts, and we'll wait for the next week.
Yeah, I think that Colts offense didn't help itself either. Wasn't there a fumble by Rivers in that second half?
Well, let's be clear. He was pressured all game. He was pressured all game. I think we had 5 sacks. He fumbled. He threw interceptions. It was a routine Steeler defensive game. Kind of like what we've been doing all year. Outside of this past month. It was that kind of game. So we did what was necessary. This was the type of game that we have been playing all year. When you look at the stats, we were bad running game. Probably we had like 20 yards running. Been through the ball like 40, 50 times again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, I say all that to say I think some of those problems that Rivers had was due to y'all's defense, stepping up and forcing him into those mistakes. I also think that he put his defense in some situations that, while they are a top defense, when you give a defense a short field to work off of course the other team is gonna take advantage of that. And I thought there were a couple occasions in that second half where that defense was at a disadvantage because Rivers was forced into a couple of those mistakes. So while the Steelers did get was able to come back and win this football game, I wasn't surprised at the outcome of the game as far as the score is. I picked the Steelers to beat the Colts, not just because I wanted the Colts to lose, but I know historically that team in Pittsburgh, they normally don't do well. And when they jumped out to that 24-7 lead, I was kind of like, whoa, like like this isn't happening. Like
I ain't gonna lie, man, I was ready to cut it off. I was ready to go pay attention to my kids. Like, normally my kids know when the Steelers played, leave me alone. I was ready to go in there and go tell them I love them. That's how I was so disgusted. First half, I was disgusted. But like I said, they came in. They came in the second half and turned it around. So, kudos to them. Like I said, I will try to pay attention closely. And this, we won't have the litmus test next week because we benching Ben.
Right.
But and they talk about even benching them, maybe benching a couple of more players. If I had to guess who they would be benching, I would guess a TJ Watt. I would guess a Cameron Hayward. You know what I'm saying? I would even if they start Sunday, I would
the
expect
vets most certainly.
But I would expect some limited snaps for all of the major players in the defense as well.
Right.
So
right. Yeah, but I ain't gonna hold you though. But if I'm Tomlin, I might just be like, look, we not getting a bye, before these playoffs start. We're not gonna get a bye week, like not playing wild card weekend. Yeah. So let's just throw the practice squad out there, all the starters.
Nah,
y'all take the week off.
I want my defense hot. I want my defense warm. I don't want to. I want them warm.
Sure, that's the flip side to that. Yeah,
make them play. Like I said, I would make sure we got a good rotation of players coming in and out, and that's what maybe some other players should get some extra snaps, maybe. Yeah. But I need my ball players to be ready to play because we're gonna need that defense
momentum. Yeah.
And I don't know. And again, I know what Ben said, but I don't know if that's the case. So
as far as what the playing, calling the plays and all that.
If that was the problem with the offense for the past month, first of all, I'm irritated that it took a month to get there. But if that's the problem, then I don't know what's going to happen wild card weekend. So I need the defense to be rolling on all cylinders the best way we could be rolling to give him time to figure this shit out. I don't think a half solves in our weekend.
I don't think that's the entire problem. Just my opinion, and just kind of looking at some of the past games. We know obviously drop passes have been an issue with this wide receiver core, and particularly Deontay Johnson.
Ben Roethlisberger's been the look, and let's be clear. And if you're speaking specific, if it's for me more specifically to the Washington game and the Buffalo game, and that's not to say they didn't have drops in the other two games I'm speaking about.
They've had drops in some of the wins y'all have had too,
for certain. But it was a problem against Washington. It was a problem against Buffalo. Like a major problem against those two teams. That's when it. I think we may have had a few against Baltimore as well, but that's not. It wasn't the problem then. And even in the Cincinnati game, we had some, but it wasn't the problem. I would say in Cincinnati, Deontay Johnson specifically had a lot of great catches against Cincinnati.
The Buffalo game is where it was more glaring.
I would even say the Washington game, it was, because it was Ebron, it was Deontay, and it was Juju. They have righted the ship. I think offensively, maybe what's going to happen, the major concerns, that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Concerns is for me in this order, Ben Roethlisberger, running game, wide receivers.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You mentioned the running game, which is still non-existent.
But
and I don't know. I don't know that this particular team can get to where they want to get to if they can't find that balance in the offense.
Yeah, see, the thing for me, as far as the running game, if we can get DBs to back up off of our receivers, I'm not super concerned about, having a 100-yard rusher. If we can get 75, I feel like if we can get 75, 80, 90 yards a game collectively, and keep the pass, the screen game going a little bit. Not as much as we have been using it in prior weeks. I think we'll be fine if the defense is doing what they need to be doing. I think we're fine. But for me, the focus has got to be on Ben Roethlisberger first and foremost. And if that's a Randy Fichtner thing, then I'll Ben Roethlisberger / offensive coordinator. I have no problem doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever's going on in the Ben Roethlisberger dynamic is what I'm mainly concerned about. He's been throwing the ball all over the field all year.
Mm-hmm.
And he has been the reason why we've been successful in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. I think the one thing I forgot to mention also was there was something to a slight injury. Like they brought it up on the broadcast.
Yeah,
on
like
Sunday.
a knee, like a hyperextended knee,
or something like that. Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know if that had something to do with.
Stock into that.
What's that?
I'm not saying he didn't injure himself. I'm saying I'm not putting much stock into that. He looked dropping back and throwing the ball. He looked just fine. I'm not putting much stock into that.
You're talking about the past 3 games, right?
I'm talking about yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know if it did either.
He said he hurt himself during the football game, but nothing changed about his practice schedule. Mm-hmm. He seemed to be throwing like not necessarily accurately, but he was throwing the ball just fine. Mm-hmm. So I can't say I'm putting much stock into that.
I won't put stock into it only because there was never an injury report, and that doesn't mean that a player is necessarily not hurt.
Players get hurt this time of the year.
Bumps
and bruises.
But if you're not going to put it in the injury report, then it's like, I'm just not gonna rock with the whole. Oh, now we understand why he's been playing so bad the past 3 games. It's like I don't want to buy into that narrative all of a sudden because a guy brings it up during the broadcast. Like I don't want to put that in. I mean, it is, let's call it what it was. He was playing some bad football in those 3 games before, and really 3.5 games, because that first half against Indy, you saw some of the same bend that you saw the past 3 games. So yeah, I don't want to put stock into an injury as the reason why he was playing so bad. But let me get into the Ravens for a minute here. And like I've been telling people on Twitter and, people that I know, in the neighborhood and all that, I am 100% confident that we were going to win these games down the stretch. It started with the Dallas game, and it, kind of trickled all the way through up to this point against the Giants. 4 in a row right now on this winning streak. I never had no doubts that we weren't going to beat these teams. And I know we got the Bengals next week. And, for people that are trying to tell me about 3 years ago, I'm not even thinking about 3 years ago. I'm thinking about
3 years ago, meaning
4th and 12.
Okay.
4th and 12. I'm not thinking about that. This is a different team. That's a different Bengals team, and I acknowledge that the Bengals in 2 weeks have played some inspired football. Granted, it was against the Texans, who I think their defense is just bad, and JJ Watt had to call the defense out, and really probably called the whole team out in that press conference. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
But he had to, let niggas know, like, yo, if y'all not gonna play, then y'all shouldn't show up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not worried about the Bengals next week. This Ravens team is on a roll right now. Lamar Jackson is in his MVP form right now. We got the running game going the way we want it to go. Marquise Brown has had a couple of good games. He's caught touchdowns in the last 4 games, so that's good to see. Defense is stepping up. Matt Judon has, picked his game up. Yannick has had a couple of good games. The pass rush is starting to come to form. I have no doubt that we're going to get into these playoffs. We're going to make some noise. And for the people that have been talking about it's pressure on us to win these games, no. The Ravens have been putting pressure on these other teams to win their games. Dolphins, Colts, Browns, who else Titans. We've been putting pressure on those teams to win because we knew what our schedule is compared to what their schedules were. And it turns out the Browns, and I guess I could get into the Browns game a little bit before finding out that the wide receiver core was not going to play their top 4 receivers. I looked at it like it's the Jets. They'll, they'll find a way to beat the Jets without 4 of their best wide receivers. I mean,
once I figured that out, I wish I could have swapped my personals. We do our personal picks.
Yeah.
I wish because I definitely would have picked the Jets if I knew 4 wide receivers, their 4 starting receivers are going to be out.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I ain't gonna front, bruh. I was not gonna put that much hype into the Jets, pulling this upset off. But I tell you what I was thinking about. I was like, you know what? They still got a top 2 running game. They got 2 of the best running backs in the league. Why don't you use Kareem Hunt as a wide receiver? He's great at catching out the backfield anyway. I was, and I didn't watch the majority of this game because I was more focused on my game and I was more focused on the Colts Steeler game. But in my head, I'm like, this is the adjustment you got to make. Chubb is your runner. Kareem Hunt is your number 1 wide receiver for this game. That's what my thought process was. And had Baker not had those 3 fumbles, they probably would have beat the Jets. But it was really all Baker. I mean, when you kind of look at the game and how it went, the stat line,
or the Jets defense.
Jets defense came to play, bro.
Yeah, I wouldn't throw it all on. He let the ball go, but
3 times.
But the Jets got there.
Yeah. You're right. You're right about that. At that point, they're like, forget Trevor Lawrence. At this point, we just trying to play football.
I'm gonna say 3 different times. Yeah, 3 different times. The Jets got there.
Yeah, they got there. Yeah. You're absolutely right about that. So yeah, they dropped one that they should have had, and here we go with this narrative again about push the game back, postpone the game. The league has already told y'all, right? Like the Broncos had no quarterbacks. We had like half of our running back core out for that Pittsburgh game. Who was it? The Lions didn't have a coaching staff against Tampa. They trying to tell y'all, we don't care. We want to get these games in. We are not going to week 18. We're not going to expand the playoffs, which in my opinion, if you expand the playoffs, that's just more money. But, it's the NFL. I don't know what they're thinking is there. They've already told y'all we're not going to stop the season. We're just going to plow through. And whatever COVID-19 issues we got to deal with, if it deals with a particular position, if it wipes out a position for 1 week, so be it.
Yeah.
Keep the game going. It is what it is.
Yeah. There's no other way to slice that. They're going to press. They're definitely going to press on. I do want to say, I guess, congratulations to the Jacksonville Jaguars for getting the number one spot. And if so the conversation about the Jets has been, are they tanking? That's the conversation we had been having.
Yes.
Do you feel like where do you stand there? Were they tanking?
I think once they beat the Rams, I think that's when the reality kind of set in because
they were just a bad football team, and
it's terribly coached for certain.
Yeah,
100%. But when you look at the players, it's like, man, like individually, these players can't be that bad. But I guess as a unit, they wasn't trying to, put it all together, and that has a lot to do with coaching. In my eyes, I think after the Rams game, I think it became clear that it was like, all right, I think they've kind of given up on this Trevor Lawrence thing. Because when you look at the Jags schedule, there was no way they were going to beat the Bears, especially the way the Bears have been coming in hot lately. and then they got the Colts, to finish the season out. So you already knew that Jacksonville was going to have just the one win on the season. So when I looked at this Browns game, I thought they were going to play hard. I just thought they were going to lose because they were the Jets and the Browns were in need of that game.
So you feel like the Jets were tanking?
I felt like they were. I felt like they were the whole year. But once they beat the Rams and once they realized, like, damn, like we just lost out on the sweepstakes, then they decided to play hard.
Okay, so you're saying they realized they weren't going to get the number one pick, so they was like, all right, let's just play some football.
Right. And if you go back to that Rams game, they were like that one touchdown that I think it was Robert Woods, the one that got called back. They probably was like the Jets they probably was like, damn, like why didn't it count that?
Mm-hmm.
That's what was going on in my mind. But again, they beat the Rams, and at that point, it was just like, all right, let's just play football and just see what happens. They will beat the Patriots on Sunday.
The Jets are beating the Patriots.
The Jets are beating the Patriots on Sunday. Book it.
Book it. I heard you.
And isn't it a wonderful thing to see Belichick pissed off on the sideline, throwing the telephone, knowing that his team's not going to the playoffs?
Get upset.
It is a wonderful thing to not see these niggas in the playoffs this year.
Here we are again having the same redundant conversations. Tom Brady made the Patriots, or Bill Belichick made the Patriots?
It's looking like Tom Brady made the Patriots. But I do want to be clear about something. That team with Brady last year was not a very good team. That defense was ridiculously good the first half of that season last year.
Yeah.
So
I acknowledge that.
Yeah. So the Rams, right? This team right now is just like, ever since the Jets lost, they've just been, for a team that I picked as a Super Bowl contender, they just don't look like themselves right now. And when you look at the fact that they're not going to have the quarterback this week because of the thumb, they're not going to have Henderson. I think they put him on IR, and Cam Akers is still kind of banged up. I just don't see how this team is going to do anything in the playoffs. Now, the reason they're going to back into these playoffs is because I think the Bears are going to lose to the Green Bay Packers on Sunday.
Right.
So the Rams will just they'll back into the playoffs. I think the Cardinals find a way to get that win, and they'll be the number 7 seed in the NFC. I think the Bears are going to be up out of there. I don't think they're going to beat Green Bay as good as they've looked the past few weeks. But the Rams are on this slide, and I think it's going to continue into the postseason. Like, whoever they get that first game, they're just going to get wiped out.
So what are the chances that the Rams get the football team?
Unlikely.
And that's obviously if the football team makes it.
Right. It's a slim chance, because here's what you got to remember. So the Bucks are a game up in the standings, I think, over the Rams, right?
Okay.
So the Bucks play, is it Atlanta? Yeah, it's the Falcons. So there you go. I think the Bucks beat the Falcons, and I think they clinched that 5 seed. So
let me just get to the question. Let me just get to it. What are the chances of an NFC East team winning a playoff game?
It depends, bruh. Because it could be the Cowboys, right? The Cowboys still got a chance. The Giants still got a chance,
right?
Which is surprising. Man, I tell you what, I think the best chance of an NFC East team winning a playoff game is if it's the Cowboys going up against Tampa Bay.
Okay.
I think that's the best shot.
Okay.
Because I don't think the Giants got a chance with that offense the way they've been looking over the past few weeks. I don't think they got a chance up against Brady and those guys. With the Washington football team and their quarterback, situation, and I know that front seven is the best in the league, I just don't see how they beat the Bucks even with that front seven. I just don't see it. The best case scenario, you need an offense that's going to go up against that Bucks offense with all those weapons.
What if I tell you Alex Smith plays?
I still don't think they beat the Bucks.
Okay.
I still
just throwing
don't.
hypotheticals. Okay.
Yeah. But they'll be at full strength with Alex Smith because they got Gibson back. Full strength.
And McLaurin, to my understanding, McLaurin is playing this week, and he was out.
He was out on Sunday. Yeah. Okay, so that means he plays Sunday. He's gonna play in that playoff game. Mm-hmm. I even with a fully healthy, not even fully healthy, but if Washington gets all their guys back and they got to go up against Tampa, I'm picking the Bucks to win that game. Unfortunately, because I don't like Tom Brady. I want to see him lose as much as possible, but I think if they draw that team, they're going to beat Washington.
Yeah.
They're going to beat Washington.
Just trying to make some hope. I think, I agree. I think Dallas, if somebody was to beat them, somebody was to get out of the first round, it would be the Cowboys.
Yeah. They got the best offensive punch to go, toe for toe with Tampa Bay, and that's with Andy Dalton at quarterback.
Yeah, and that's with Andy Dalton, correct?
Yeah.
And if it was, if it were Dak, and I'll leave it right there. If it were Dak,
I'd pick the Cowboys easy.
Yeah, I might have a different tune. Yeah, I might ring a different tune right now.
I will pick the Cowboys.
Easy. So who gets the East spot?
I think it's going to be the football team. And as much as I would like for it to be Dallas, because I think they got the better offense at this point. Dallas in these situations, man. I get it's a different team, different players. We've seen over the years where it's a win and get in situation. They don't come through, man. And I got the feeling that's gonna happen on Sunday.
Well, I think in rebuttal, the Redskins have rarely been in the situation to win or go home. To win when you're in, they haven't even been in the situation. So I mean, right. I got the Cowboys going because I got more confidence in the Cowboys beating the Giants than I do the football team beating the Eagles. So that's where I'm at with it. Heineken as he's been aptly named around my circles. I don't trust him for having a decent,
right.
Good. He had a half, where he was more productive. And as good as that front four is, and I want to be clear on front four and not seven. The linebackers aren't all that. But that front four, as good as they are, Jalen Hurts is the type of quarterback to give that front four issues. So there's that.
So for clarity, you got the Cowboys beating the Giants, and you got the Eagles beating the football team.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope that's the case. I at this point, I would much rather see Dallas with that offense in the playoffs. But I just got a feeling they're gonna wet the bed against the Giants. I just got a feeling
that's realistic too. That's realistic for certain.
Yeah. So,
Dwayne Haskins is released from the Washington football team.
Yeah, man. It's like I told somebody when he was first drafted a year and a half ago that I didn't like this spot for him, like this organization for Dwayne Haskins, because of, all the stuff in the past about Snyder being buddy with the quarterbacks, the dysfunction within the organization, now that we've kind of found out about, the sexual assault stuff and all that stuff.
Which, by the way, he settled out of court.
He who?
Dan Snyder.
Oh, really?
That's if I read it correctly, he settled out of court.
Dan Snyder, sell the football team, please.
Yeah.
I'm still on that train
Yeah,
ride.
me too. Me too.
I'm
You and
I'm,
you're
I'm still on it.
and you need to change your ways, sir.
Yeah, for real, for real. When they drafted him, I just had this feeling like even with Doug Williams in the office, helping out, I just didn't feel like this was the right fit for him because of everything that was going on in the organization. I actually thought that the Giants was going to be the team to draft him, and then they, went ahead and got Jones,
Which,
with the six.
by the way, seems to have panned out so far.
So far, yeah, so
Yeah.
far so good for the Giants. We'll see what Daniel Jones is, later in his career. But for Haskins, um, this is one of those teaching moments, right? This is one of those situations where it's like, um, I got my bag. Um, I'm talented. I could do this. But bruh, like the decision making has to be a lot better. And I'm not talking about going to the strip club. I'll be clear about what I said last week. I don't have a problem with him going to the strip club, dropping dimes and dropping 20s and dollar bills in the club. It's the fact that we're in this pandemic and you're out in public without a mask.
It's a terrible optic.
It's a terrible optic. And I don't know if anybody mentioned this, but the coach is just going through cancer remediation. And for those individuals that have to, continually go through remediation, they're at a higher risk
Yeah.
during this COVID-19 period. So not only is it optically bad on your part, but you're going into the facility and God forbid you transfer something that might have been taking place in that club to the facility with a coach that's got, that had cancer and is going through remediation. God forbid something happened to Ron Rivera. How does that look?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's that part for me that he's gotta, be aware of his surroundings. He's gotta be able to make better decisions with himself. I do believe that some NFL team is gonna give him an opportunity.
100%.
I do believe that. He's 23 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had that 1 year at Ohio State where, I think that catapulted him to where he was picked at in the draft. That's and I thought about your team, right? I thought about your team. I know you've been talking about, a replacement for Roethlisberger down the line. You don't think Haskins is you don't want Haskins, huh? Okay.
No.
Okay.
No.
Now I can understand that because when you watch him play, you don't see.
Here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
I'm not saying that he can't one day turn into a good quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, but he's not it right now. And with Ben Roethlisberger, if it's 2 years, if it's 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
I would like to hope that our defense is intact for the most part. Still going in, 3 years from now, I expect to still have a championship caliber defense 3 years from now. So when Ben Roethlisberger retires, I look forward to having a quarterback who is going to plug in and not necessarily be as good as Roethlisberger, but I still need that quarterback. I would love to have a Jalen Hurts right now, waiting in the wing. I would love to have a Jordan Love or Justin Herbert waiting in the wings right now. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of guy. I don't Dwayne Haskins is, and like I said, I don't know if he'll ever get there, but right now you look at him on the field, he's not there decision making, he's not there throwing the ball. And I'm not willing to if I'm the offensive coordinator for the Steelers, or I'm not willing to revamp my offense for your skill sets when we got a pretty strong idea of how we want to run offense right now. Even
Well,
though that might change.
I was gonna say that could change maybe,
but you
a
don't
year or
change it
two.
for Dwayne Haskins though. He's nothing. Nothing has shown me that I changed that for Dwayne Haskins unless I drafted Dwayne Haskins.
Because I think Dwayne Haskins is your typical drop back passer. Like, he's more that than he is
Yeah,
a Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson,
yeah,
or that kind of a quarterback.
right. So, but he's not accurate right now, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. And again, if it's mechanics, then cool. But I don't see that it's mechanics. I see that he's just
Mm-hmm.
not there yet.
Right, right. I would like to see him with a more stable organization
Sure,
and just kind of see, what he can do
I would
under
love
better
him.
tutorship.
I would love him to go to a New Orleans or a Green Bay and just sit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Sit
Right,
and cook.
right, right. I wasn't thinking Green Bay, but
I mean,
I
obviously, no,
could kind of.
I'm just saying that type of situation, not
Right.
Green Bay, like realistically, because they got Jordan Love.
Jordan Love, yeah, right.
I'm just talking about those types of situations. I would love that type of situation
Mm-hmm.
for Dwayne Haskins, where he could sit up under somebody that know what they're doing,
Yeah.
and with coaching and with like you said, an organization that knows what they're doing, and just sit up in there and soak up game.
Mm-hmm.
I think my other thing for Dwayne Haskins, and I was talking about it today, it's dangerous for a foot or an athlete who goes to their hometown
Mm-hmm.
and with money and around their family, you know what I'm saying? And it was a concern that I had when he was drafted. I
Mm-hmm.
just hoped that he would be able to succumb all of it and
Yeah.
make it happen.
Right.
But that's a tough spot for a quarterback, an athlete, let alone a quarterback to be in. I
Yeah.
mean, he came into this year with a captain.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he was
Yeah.
put under a lot of pressure for an organization that don't got their shit together. One and two, you heard the rumors early. Ron Rivera didn't necessarily want Dwayne Haskins.
Right.
You heard that earlier in this year. So
Right.
it's it just wasn't the best situation for him anyway. So along with bad play and some bad PR moves, he finds himself out of a job. But like you said, he's 23. He'll be fine as far as getting another job. Now, as far as getting back to being a starting quarterback, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as getting another job, he's too young. He's too people believe in his skill set.
Yep.
He'll be fine. He'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. Like I just saw Adam Schefter's tweet that there are teams already lining up for his services. So
Yeah.
that's a good thing. But I was gonna say something in addition to what you said about Ron Rivera not wanting him as the starting quarterback. The previous regime before Ron Rivera got there didn't want to draft Haskins. That was ordered by Dan Snyder from up above.
Okay.
So, and it was kind of the same situation with RG3 when Shanahan was there. Shanahan looked at RG3, was like, nah, he's not our guy. Dan Snyder was like, nah, get RG3. And that's what happened. And look how his career, with the Redskins ended up.
Yeah. Is it safe to say Washington football team has ruined two black quarterbacks' careers?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. 100%.
Yeah.
And they still don't have a name.
Yeah. Sell the team.
Yeah. Dan Snyder, please sell it to somebody black.
Yeah.
I'm begging you. I just got one more game, and then we could go to NBA or some other stuff. So I had some investment in that Dolphins Raiders game on Saturday night, and I think
it's magic.
I don't even want to talk about him. Well, I am going to talk about him, but I think he's been given too much credit. But just before the game came on, I was intrigued by this game because obviously this was going to impact where the Ravens was going to fall at in the standings, after this week.
Yeah.
And I thought that, maybe the Raiders have a shot. I didn't necessarily trust that they would come out with the win, but I thought that they would come out to play given this was sort of like their last gasp, right? Like they were
Right.
7-7, and I think they needed 2 Dolphins losses, they needed 2 Ravens losses for them to have a shot. So I knew that we were going to get the best of the Raiders in that game. And it turns out they dominated that game up until Fitzpatrick comes in. And I got to be honest with you with that decision. You know, when it first happened, I was like, they doing this again? Like, why they pulling Tua or whatever? Like, leave Tua in the game. Not just because I wanted the Dolphins to lose, but I just didn't want that for Tua.
Yeah.
I wanted Tua to, experience, what it's like to lose a game like that in the moment when it's needed. So the momentum of that game changed.
Let me stop because I don't want to forget the point.
Yep.
But I could see Brian Flores' side of the conversation, meaning I would rather him get them growing pains in week 4 as opposed to week 16 where we're in a playoff hunt.
Yeah, I got it. And Brian Flores is my coach of the year at this point, because this whole thing where he's got like relief pitchers for quarterbacks, like that kind of dynamic seems to be working for them right now, even though I don't agree with it 100%. But the whole momentum of that game changed when Fitzpatrick came in the game. Now, I think he's been given too much credit, because when you look at those 2 throws, right? So we had the one throw down the middle to Gesicki, I think, that first drive. Okay, you got that. I think he made another throw in that same drive earlier on where it was like, all right, they're moving the ball. This is what they were looking for from Tua. They wasn't getting the ball movement. He comes in, he's at least getting them down the field. But that touchdown by Gaskin, that was all Gaskin. That wasn't just Fitzpatrick. That was Gaskin catching the ball, making a couple of moves, and down the sideline, touchdown Dolphins. And I think they took the lead at that point. The Raiders had a god-awful 4.5 minutes of those last 4.5 minutes of football.
Yeah,
that was just a meltdown from John Gruden not going for the touchdown right there, to the face mask. And let's be clear about that throw on the face mask. That was a terrible throw. I don't care what anybody says. Sure. That was a terrible throw. He was lucky that, what's his name, Hollins, was right there. He was also lucky that the Raiders were in a coverage where it was like, dude, it's 19 seconds. Why y'all in that coverage? Like, make sure everybody's in front of you. Like, y'all trying to go after Fitzpatrick like it's, like it's the middle of the game.
Magic.
Man, look.
It must be magic. I'm
gonna just leave it at this.
It must be magic.
I'm gonna leave it at this. He changed the momentum of that football game, but I look at the Gaskin touchdown. That was all Gaskin. I look at the decision to pull Tua for Fitzpatrick by Brian Flores. I also look at John Gruden not going for the touchdown right there and going for the 3 instead. And the Raiders on defense off of one play with 19 seconds left. They lost that game on one play.
Give me a percentage of credit you're giving Fitz Magic.
I'm giving him about 20% credit.
Wow.
I'm giving him 20% credit. I'm sorry. He had, and again, the throw down the middle to Gesicki and that throw before that, yeah, that was him. He got that ball moving. He got the ball moving.
You do recognize that there's a reason that Brian Flores goes to Fitz Magic as a relief pitcher, though, right?
Yeah, I realize.
You understand that there's a dynamic.
I realize why. Yes,
there's a dynamic that he brings as quarterback that Tua doesn't quite have yet, or however he feels about that doesn't quite have yet, that he continues to deliver on. Look, listen here. Listen here. That when you just said that I give Brian Flores credit for putting Fitzpatrick in.
Even though I didn't agree with
even
it
though you don't
when
agree
it happened.
with that.
Yes.
Right. But there is stock to Brian Flores feeling like just as much as you can give Brian Flores credit for doing that.
Yep.
It's a reason you're giving Brian Flores credit for doing that. It's because of what Fitzpatrick brings to the table. Let's be clear. I am not a Fitzpatrick anything. I mean, I like watching him on football because he might throw a pick or he might throw a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that simple. It's really a 50-50. He's the ultimate, in my opinion, the ultimate 50-50 quarterback.
Yeah, gunslinger.
So that's why I like Ryan Fitzpatrick. But that 50% that you might score a touchdown on is the reason why Tua wasn't in the game at that time. So it's like, yeah, that throw was lucky, but maybe it was just magic.
Yeah, maybe. It certainly didn't draw it up that way for certain.
Certainly
Didn't draw it up that way, but there was some, like I said, when he came in the game, he changed the momentum of that football game. No question about it.
He certainly shouldn't be celebrated like a Patrick Mahomes type of, that type of thing. He shouldn't be celebrated as that type of a quarterback.
Bro, you should have seen the post game, bro. Fitzpatrick was doing the interview, and I'm like, all right, I get it. The Fitzmagic narrative, I understand it.
If I'm Fitzpatrick, I am running that whole thing ragged because he might get another contract off that, another 1 year bullshit contract off of that if he don't stay in Miami.
This guy has to be the luckiest dude in the NFL.
He's made some money in the NFL and has not been necessarily productive for the money he's made.
Every team he's played for, he has started for in some capacity, right? Buffalo, the Rams, the Bengals, the Texans, Miami, the Jets that 1 year.
And let's not forget about that year with the Jets. He was balling.
No, that was his best year. That was his best year of the career until the last game he choked and the team missed the playoffs. And just to kind of get to that point about the playoffs, he has yet to be there. He has yet to experience that with all that, being said.
Well, guess what? It's happening this year.
You think so?
I don't know. I'm just talking shit. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't know what I believe about the AFC. I know Pittsburgh will be there.
So
and I feel like Baltimore and Baltimore. I mean, even though they're not there, Baltimore will be there.
Yeah. So in the AFC right now, it's just Pittsburgh, Buffalo, and Kansas City. That's clinched something, right?
Yeah. Right.
Right. So you got 5 other teams. One of them is not going to make it. And we got to throw the Titans in that group too, because they lost to Green Bay on Sunday. They haven't clinched anything yet. They could very well be a wild card. We don't know yet. I personally think the team that's going to miss out, unfortunately, is the Dolphins. And, I was one that predicted that they were going to be a playoff team this year.
Yeah.
I didn't know that the AFC was going to be this stacked up to this point. I mean, you got 8 teams with 10 plus wins.
Right.
Imagine if they didn't expand the playoffs.
Right.
You'd have 2 teams with 10 wins not in, and you'd have a 7-9 or a 6-10 in the NFC East making it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's something crazy.
That's a fact.
I think that, unfortunately, I think the Dolphins miss out because I think Buffalo, even with the news that Ben's gonna sit, I think Buffalo is gonna play some of their guys because I think Buffalo wants that number 2. Even though I don't think it's gonna, I've said for maybe 2 weeks that the 2 and the 3 seed, there's really not much of a difference. I mean, there's no crowds in the stadiums. Pittsburgh and Buffalo are not that far apart as far as travel distance and all that. But then I got to thinking, on the flip side to that, what if somebody knocks Kansas City off in that divisional round? I mean, it's the NFL. I mean, anything is possible. And let's just say KC gets picked off in that divisional round. You the number 2 seed, you get to host that title game the
Yeah.
following week.
Right.
So
Right.
so if I'm Buffalo and you want that 2 seed, knowing Ben's gonna sit, go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it. Knock the Dolphins out. They're your division rival. If you don't want to see them there, you could do something about it.
That you telling the truth. I'm with you 100%. I'm with you 100%. And that's how they should. That's how Buffalo should play it. I don't think that's going to play out in their favor. I mean, I get it any given Sunday. Mm-hmm. I don't think Kansas City losing the divisional, but any given Sunday.
So any given Sunday. I don't either. I don't either.
But I'm with you though.
But that's something to just kind of keep in your back pocket. Like the 2s and like the 2 and 3 might not be important this year, but hey, something crazy could happen. We might be hosting a title game. You want to keep that in mind. And the same thing for Green Bay and Chicago. Like if I'm the Packers and I want the 1 seed and I don't want to see the Bears in the playoffs, I could do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
Get them up out of there.
So they are at the 2 though right now. Buffalo.
Who's that?
Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo's at the 2 right
at the
now.
2, right? Okay, I just wanted to use, but basically they need to keep it basically.
Right.
I just wanted to, right. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was making sure that we were clear that Buffalo is the 2
because y'all got the same record.
We got the same record. They got the head-to-head and the divisional record if it had to come down to it.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. Yep. But speaking of Green Bay, are we in agreement that they're going to be the number 1 seed?
Yeah.
In the NFC? Yeah. I'm with you too. I know the Seahawks have a chance at it. I know the Saints have a chance at it, but I think Green Bay wants this desperately. And I think we talked about it last year. We thought that was Aaron Rodgers' last shot at a chance for a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and here we are 1 week away from locking up that top seed. And
they look like the best team in the NFC.
They look like the best team, right? Because, I mean, you look up and down this list, who's going to beat that team in those kind of conditions next month?
Yeah.
I mean, the one team I give a shot at is Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else, like Tampa, no. New Orleans, no. Rams, hell no.
Right.
You know what I mean? Arizona, hell no. Like, I don't give any of those teams a shot.
Yeah. I mean, if you get Kyler Murray running for his life, I mean, I give him a shot in the dark.
Mm-hmm. Give him some hope.
If he running for his life, I give him a shot in the dark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. They kind of laid an egg too on Saturday.
Yeah,
too,
for sure.
So they got to play really hard Sunday, to beat the Rams, which I think they're gonna do.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Can we get into some NBA?
We can, man.
Yeah. So and I know it's early in the season; it's just 1 week, but
yeah,
I got to tell you. After watching all these football games on Sunday, something that just went maybe not totally unnoticed, but Mavericks was playing the Clippers Sunday afternoon, and they was beating them by 50 points.
Mm-hmm.
First quarter, second quarter, I think the halftime score was like 77-27, something like that. And the final score was a 50-point deficit.
Yeah.
and it wasn't like they put up a fight. Like it wasn't like, okay, we at least got to cut this to like 25. They didn't even do that.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a couple of things, and the first thing in response to the Clippers, look, this is an anomaly. I just want to be clear about that. This is an anomaly. But this was a good old fashioned ass whipping. This was the ass whipping that was owed to the Clippers for the playoff loss that the Dallas Mavericks had to suffer. I could see them at this point feeling like, oh, we're in control of this game, but fuck it, we got to whip their ass some more. Yeah. This was a revenge second half where we're not going to let up off the gas. We are going to continue to beat y'all ass because y'all beat us in the playoffs, a few months ago. Paul George, trash. Kawhi didn't play. I didn't realize that.
Right. He didn't play. Yep.
And I don't really believe Paul George is trash. It's just he's robbing. So,
yeah. Well, he couldn't stop the bleeding.
He's robbing. Robin can't stop the bleeding.
Yeah, he couldn't stop the bleeding.
Gotta call Batman to stop the bleeding.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Right. So but an anomaly. I think the Dallas Mavericks are happy that they got that stink off. At least for now. I'll say at least for now they got some stink off of them. Beating this team the way they beat this team. And take with it what you will. Take what you like. This is certainly nothing to panic over. This doesn't change. I mean, I had the Mavericks over the Clippers seeding wise anyway. Yeah. So this doesn't really change anything for me.
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting, man. Because I do believe that they would have got all the smoke had they not played on NFL Sunday. Because I mean, it just kind of went, like it just came and went.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I guess, like you said, Sunday is for football. We know that.
Right. I wasn't thinking about no NBA whatsoever on Sunday.
I saw it on a timeline just like you did. If this was a Thursday night TNT game, it'd be getting different coverage right now. But lucky for them. It happened on a Sunday, so the backlash ain't going to be too crazy.
Yeah, no, not at all. I did see Terry Rozier kind of put a poster on KD the other day.
Yeah, he went crazy.
Yeah. He's looking like the best player on Charlotte.
I don't want to get there week one.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't want to get there week one. I just don't want to go there week one.
Not to say that he's going to be that the rest of the year.
Yeah. I don't even want to. You know what I mean? Like it's just a lot to. It's not even like Charlotte is like that kind of team where the best player, the gap between the best player and the second best player is going to be that wide. They're put a team together and play as a team type of team.
Yeah.
If they're going to make the playoffs, it's going to be because that. It won't be because somebody's scoring 30 points or 20 or even really 28 points a game.
Right.
It'll be, a guy scoring 18, a guy scoring 20, a guy scoring 15, that type of game, that type of performance.
Have you watched your Wizards up to this point?
I have yet to not an entire front to back game. Bill is billing. Russell Westbrook has 2 triple doubles, if I'm not mistaken, coming in, but the second one he shot terribly. Look, 1 week. That's we haven't won a game, if I'm not mistaken.
0-3.
Yeah, we haven't won a game. It's like, okay. Would I have liked to have, say we were 2-1? As I know we played the Sixers. Yes, I would love to say we were 2-1, but we're not, and I'm not panicking over 0-3.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to watch a Knicks game from front to back. I know that RJ Barrett was on a shooting spree game 1 against the Pacers. They lost that game, but they just offensively just haven't been able to put it together for the first 2 games. And then Obi Toppin injures his calf, and he's going to be out for about 7 to 10 days. I think this is probably the 3rd day he's been out. So we'll see where that goes. And then surprisingly on Sunday, we beat the Bucks by 20. I think it was like 130 to 110. And I'm just trying to figure out, how the hell that happened? Like,
did Giannis play?
Giannis played. Yeah.
I mean, look, and again, just like I said, I'm not putting much stock into a week one in the NBA.
Yeah.
But if I was that guy, I would love to sit here and talk about how, wow, Giannis, you got beat by 20 points by the, to the Knicks. But like I said, I'm just not putting much stock into week one now.
Everything is an overreaction at this point.
Yeah.
Like even the Cavs being 3-0
yeah
is a straight overreaction. Now I'll give them credit for one of the wins. It was against the Sixers, in a comeback fashion. So other than that, I'm not buying into Cleveland as being a top 8 team in the Eastern Conference, even coming off of a 3-0 record.
And all the basketball YouTube channels that I watch, everybody wants to tell me to watch out for Colin Sexton this year specifically. So there's that.
Right. Spencer Dinwiddie tore partially his ACL, so he's going to be out for the season, which I don't think that's a big loss in terms of where the Nets want to go as far as, getting to the finals. I don't think that's a big loss. I do think that if the conversations about a Harden trade potentially come up again, I think they're completely 100% out of that sweepstakes, because I think Dinwiddie would have been that one asset to complete a package and a trade for James Harden. And now that he's not going to play the rest of the year, I think that deal is off the table completely. 100%.
Well, I think the deal is off the table anyway, because if I'm the Houston Rockets, I'm not. You're giving me Kyrie Irving,
or Kevin Durant.
Or Kevin Durant, right?
Yeah. No question. Yeah. But I mean, Dinwiddie definitely was an asset as a part of that. But yeah. I just think that's off the table at this point. That's off the table for certain. And I think the Nets will be fine moving forward. Does it hurt their depth? Yes, it does hurt their depth, but they still got Karis LeVert, who I think could be a number one on another team.
But wasn't Dinwiddie starting?
Good question. I don't know. I haven't watched any Nets games.
I'm pretty sure Dinwiddie was starting.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was starting at the 2, but like you said, Karis LeVert is starting, it'll be fine. So
yeah, they'll be fine, moving forward. I wonder though. I was just thinking about this, and I was talking to my cousin about it last night. He was one of the players that opted to not play in the bubble, right?
Who?
Spencer Dinwiddie. Yeah.
Was he? Okay, yeah. I don't remember. I don't remember.
If I'm not mistaken, when the bubble started in July, he was one of the players that was like, I don't want to deal with it. I want to, sit this one out. So when you think about that, combined with the shutdown back in March, it's been about 9-10 months since he's really gotten any kind of playing action. And I'm just talking on the court. I'm not talking, practice away from the facility or, things like that. But he hasn't really had a lot of playing time within those 9 months. So I'm just wondering, could that kind of injury be due to not being in a rhythm of playing? Because a typical offseason is 4 months. He's had basically a 9-month offseason.
Maybe. I mean, that's all I can say. Maybe.
Yeah. I just wonder, like, for other players that did opt out of the bubble, now that they're playing now, I wonder moving forward how much that's going to affect them as the season progresses. It's just a thought.
Yeah. Maybe, but like you said, they'll be fine.
Yeah,
they're still right. in my mind. They're still going to the finals with the Lakers.
So I think this is dope, right? Reebok and Baron Davis and Master P, potentially making this investment in purchasing Reebok. I think that is dope for the culture.
Yeah, sure. Yes. Let me be clear. Yes, that's dope. Forgive me if I don't seem as excited, because I'm not a super fan of most Reebok tennis shoes,
of course,
design wise. But yes, this is dope. This
Of
is
course.
this
Of
is a
course.
great thing.
And I will admit myself, I am not a Reebok fan. Haven't been a fan of their shoes for a lot of years.
I mean, yeah, I mean they got their shoes, they got their classes, the
Of
Iversons,
course.
the Sean Kemp's, the old Shaq. You know, they got joints that you could wear and you good. But you
Of
know,
course.
I'd be lying if I was saying I was a fan.
But I more so just want to talk about like the marketing piece to it, right? So Master P, part owner of Reebok with Baron Davis, um, that's going to attract some players that want to get their own shoe. In my opinion, I don't think they're going to supersede Nike
Oh, of
and
course not.
some of
Yeah,
these other,
Adidas.
Adidas. Yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
they're going to supersede that,
yeah, of
but I
course
do
not.
think that they are going to attract some players, and maybe not marquee level players,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
players that, hey, that signature shoe, Master P being with Reebok, yo, I might want to rock with these guys. Master P,
Uh, I
a
could
good
see,
businessman.
I could totally see Master P turning his, because Master P already has a signature shoe out called
Yes.
Mon Yetis.
Mm-hmm.
I could totally see him just trying to take those to the next level with the Reebok imprint on it. And that being the first thing they do,
Mm-hmm.
like doing a Reebok Mon Yeti collab type thing. And that's cool too. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. I agree that there will be some type of an influence. I don't know how big it'll be, but I do agree that there will be some type of influence between Baron Davis, one of the more respected basketball players,
Mm-hmm.
um, and Master P, who business wise, culture wise,
Mm-hmm.
is one of those OGs in the game. So yeah, I agree with you. I don't see him pulling Bradley Beal, and I get Bradley. I'm, just to name a name. I don't
Yep.
see him pulling a Bradley Beal into getting him to leave his shoe deal, because I think he got a Jumpman deal. Bradley Beal. I don't see him
Uh-huh.
giving that Jumpman deal to go for a Reebok deal.
Yeah.
This is more of a, no disrespect to anybody, this is more of a Devontae Graham type of deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Somebody like that.
Where his stock is right now. Obviously,
Yep.
he could elevate his stock and it'd be a different ball game next year.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
right, you know what I'm saying? But
Absolutely.
that
Like
type
think about the players that have elected to go to HBCUs to play
yeah.
for HBCUs, and hopefully the NCAA.
I mean, but we only talking about really two or three prospects at this point right now, as far as that.
Is it about two or three? I know one went to Morgan State. I don't remember the others. Oh, Maestro, I think you froze there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
How but he a big man. I forget his name.
You're
Shakir.
talking about the guy that elected to go to a HBCU?
Yeah, he's playing for Howard.
Okay. I know who you're talking about. I just can't
I
remember
can't remember his name, but I remember we talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Mikey, I don't even know his last name. I follow him on Instagram and don't even know his last name.
Mikey. Yeah, that name sounds familiar.
Yeah, well, he's the guy. He's been kind of the high school kid who kind of really jumped these conversations off.
Yeah.
Mikey Williams is his name.
Mikey Williams. Okay, yeah.
But I follow him on Instagram because of how he's been talking on social media. Mm-hmm. I follow him on Twitter as well. But because he had started that talk about, man, we should all go play for HBCUs, but he has yet to commit anywhere. So.
Right.
But I think everybody's waiting for him to commit somewhere before other people start really committing.
Right. McCurr Maker is the other guy.
The Cat and Howard. That's the Cat and Howard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the guy that I was thinking about. So I mean, when you think about those players and the moves they made, maybe those are guys that maybe look at the Master P deal with Reebok and say, yo, I might want to rock with this cat. You never know.
That would be major. That's for certain.
It would be
major.
It would be
major.
And I think more importantly, as a black community, this is an inspiration too. I mean, we know Master P is an inspiration anyway,
Yeah,
but to see him make this kind of black power move, man, legendary.
yeah.
So shout out to Master P if this
Shout out
deal
to
gets
Black
done.
Excellence, Black Wealth. Let's keep going.
Hashtag black entrepreneurs. Let's keep it going. I got nothing else to talk about
Hey
tonight.
man. Hey
So
man. You see my eyes.
so oh, you know it. We talked about it before we got on here.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody that follows us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. You can reach out to us at Barbershop SPOR2. If you follow us on Instagram, we're at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. If you got any questions or comments about the show, you could email us at barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com. So if you got nothing else, I'm Trey Frazier. He's Maestro Styles. We'll get at y'all next week. Happy New
Love.
Year.
Yes, sir.
Y'all be safe in them streets.
I'm getting twisted.
And wear a damn mask, please.
I'm getting twisted.
Peace.